And we begin this morning with the latest on deposed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, both in a Manhattan courtroom yesterday. The couple pleading not guilty to drugs and weapons charges following their capture by the U.S. over the weekend. Let's bring in Global's Reggie Cicchini, who joins us from Washington with more on this developing story. Reggie, what more can you tell us? It was quite the scene yesterday. Maduro and his wife arriving via helicopter in Manhattan, demonstrators out front. What more can you tell us about yesterday's court appearance?
Yeah, Jeff, Carolyn, good morning. This was, a rare moment in U.S. history to have a leader that they ousted from one country on the ground facing charges on various indictments that date back decades. We saw Maduro walk in with his feet shackled, his hands were open, and through an interpreter, he told the judge that he was not guilty. He claimed his innocence repeatedly. He said that he was a decent man, and at one point, he told the judge that he is still the rightful president of Venezuela, at which point the judge kind of told him, you will have an opportunity to say that in the weeks to come as this trial moves forward. We also learned that there are some health issues that his wife is facing, possibly with bruised or fractured ribs. Now, Maduro's legal team is arguing that this is something that was illegal for the United States to do, saying that international law is going to factor into this case. But we are going to have to wait to find out what those arguments are, because this case is now on hold until the middle of March.
Okay, let's talk about who is leading the country right now. There seems to be mixed messages coming from Trump and his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, as to who is running Venezuela. Do we have any clarity this morning?
No, Donald Trump still says that it's him or his administration. Marco Rubio, the UN ambassador, says that it is the government that is in place, with the vice president now sworn in as the acting president of Venezuela. But there are questions here as to what that's ultimately going to look like, because this was originally thought to be some kind of regime change. But you have the second in command of that regime now leading a nation to which Donald Trump says if she doesn't do what America says, then she's going to pay a price worse than that than Maduro faced. So again, it is that question of who is actually running the country or who is pulling the strings from above. We know that the opposition leader is set to return to Venezuela possibly in the near future. She was on Fox News last night saying that she would consider giving her Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump, a president of the U.S. who says that that woman has no respect within her own country to be able to get into the position of president.
All right, Reggie. Also, there's critics calling this action by the U.S. in Venezuela a violation of international law, and some wondering openly where Donald Trump might look next. In fact, the Dutch PM responding swiftly to his recent remarks to once again make Greenland part of the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, look, on the White House Twitter page, they put a statement out yesterday saying this is our hemisphere, talking about the Western Hemisphere. And we heard Donald Trump again making this push for Greenland, arguing that it's a part, it should be a part of the United States because it benefits U.S. interests and U.S. national security. Stephen Miller, kind of a vocal right-wing member within the administration, was on TV last night talking about how this is going to be something that the United States can do, because what is NATO going to do to fight back? And the Danish PM is saying, look, if the United States comes into Greenland, this could be the end of NATO, because they are supposed to be doing this collective achievement together to deal with Arctic security. So there are now rattled nerves inside Europe, because there's obviously an imperialistic push coming from Russia on one border, now apparently from the United States on the other border. And again, this is going to spark questions. If Donald Trump is again renewing that rhetoric about Greenland, does he start talking about Canada once again?
All right, so many moving parts. Reggie Cicchini joining us from Washington. Thank you for that update.